You. The Connecticut mayor is now apologizing for those taco comments that he made. We were telling you the story yesterday. Stop giggling, Roland Martin. That came after the FBI arrested some local police officers. Allegedly, they were mistreating Latinos and others as well. Quote, they behaved like bullies with badges. That's from an FBI official. They allegedly threatened and assaulted their detainees. So joining us this morning from New Haven is Father James Manship. He was arrested by two of the indicting officers. Dermot Lynch is with him. He's a Yale Law School student. He's an intern with the Worker and Immigrants' Rights Advocacy Clinic, which is basically a law clinic that was working with the church. And Mark Zaretsky joins our panel here. He's a reporter with the New Haven Register. It's nice to have you. Father, I'm going to begin with you, if I can. So take us back to 2009, because I want to show a little clip of this videotape that you shot. I'll show it first, and then on the other side, explain to me what was happening. Everybody watch.
Sure, what are you doing? The reason why you have the camera on me?
Yes.
Why is that?
I'm taking a video of what's going on here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ron, I'm doing that camera.
So you can see at this point, Father, you see the police officer not too pleased that you were rolling video. Why were you rolling video in the first place? What was going on?
Since June of 2008, it come to my attention through parishioners that they were having very harsh experiences with the East Haven Police Department. And we wanted to begin to document these encounters of racial harassment.
So once you were
East Haven Police Department.
Once you were taking that videotape, what happened to you after the police officer? We see him kind of coming around the front toward you. What happened next?
He arrested me. I was handcuffed and let out of the store and charged with disorderly conduct, interfering with a police officer. I
know a lot of the reason that you were recording in the first place was that you were hoping to get a case that you could bring to the feds, and that's really where we bring in Dermot, because he was working with this clinic through the Yale Law School. Dermot, what did you find interesting about this case where you were working as an intern?
So we've been hearing about these reports from St. Rose of Lehman, from Father Manship, and we compiled them into a complaint that we sent to the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division in March of 2009. And then that investigation has produced a preliminary findings letter last year and a scathing report in December of 2011 about what's been happening in East Haven, this pattern and practice of racial profiling, ethnic profiling of Latinos.
And Darren, their motto is to protect and serve. But today the federal government says 4 East Haven police officers were not doing that. In fact, they say they were racial profiling. Now, the investigation has been going on for some time, but still today, police officers being arrested came as quite a shock to many in East Haven, even those who claim they were dealing with the alleged harassment.
It hasn't always been easy for Edgar Marin to live in East Haven. He says he is one of those who has suffered at the hands of the police here, in particular, one officer.
Just with him, so maybe one day he stopped because maybe he thinks I doesn't have the driver license or something like that. I'm asking why you stopped me. He never asked the question. So
Marin says he remembers that officer well because he treated him so badly. That officer is one of 4 arrested today on federal charges. Sergeant John Miller and officers David Carey, Dennis Spaulding, and Jason Zullo. Charges include conspiracy against rights, excessive force, false arrest, and obstruction of justice.
The officers abused their positions of authority to deprive people of their constitutional rights under color of law. In simple terms, they behave like bullies with badges.
The FBI investigation stretches back more than 3 years to when New Haven priest and outspoken critic Father James Manship was arrested when he made this videotape trying to intervene during an altercation with police at an East Haven store. And the indictment includes charges of trying to intimidate other police officers and commissioners who were trying to investigate that incident. It also includes car-to-car radio communication between officers Zullo and Spaulding. And at one point, Zullo allegedly says persons who have drifted to this country on rafts made of chicken wings are now residing on Main Street, East Haven. We're told more arrests could be coming, and there is speculation about recently reinstated Chief Leonard Gallo. Federal investigators have seized items from his office. Gallo would not comment on today's arrests, but Mayor Joseph Maturo tried to reassure residents.
What I want everyone else to know that we stand behind our police department, and we are not a racially motivated community. We welcome everyone.
But when asked by a New York TV station,
what are you doing for the Latino community today? I might have tacos when I go home. I'm not quite sure yet.
some on these streets, like Joe Wiseman, say they have never known the police here to be anything but absolutely professional.
That's surprising to me because the ones I have ran into, really no issues, no issues in the school, stuff like that. So
Edgar Marin would disagree, though even he says to see today's developments doesn't make him feel any better.
Not too happy because, I'm not happy because he have a family. I have a family too. So, I'll never be happy with something bad.
Now, the mayor did backtrack on his comment about the tacos. He said he might eat spaghetti and meatballs because he's Italian. He also later apologized and said the comment was taken out of context. Again, there may be more arrests coming, but no word yet on when that might happen. Live in News 8 Control, Annie Rourke. Back to you.
Other news for you tonight. One of two former East Haven police officers has learned his fate.
He and a fellow officer were both convicted of conspiring to violate and violating the civil rights of members of the Latino community. News 8's chief political correspondent Mark Davis has all the details.
David Carey's lawyer pleaded for leniency because the former East Haven cop had been shot in the line of duty and suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. The judge didn't buy any of it, and at Hartford Federal Court today sentenced him to 2.5 years plus 3 years probation. A large group of East Haven Latino residents sat through the 4-hour sentencing hearing.
We feel sad. Sad for him, sad for the family. As a Christian community, we believe in the redemption. But the consequences, any act has consequences.
We are glad that justice was served. We also are glad that our stories and our testimonies were taken seriously.
They are all parishioners with the priest that took this now famous video that led the U.S. Justice Department to condemn the East Haven Police Department and arrest 4 cops.
2 men have just made really bad decisions and bad actions and have now are suffering the consequences for their actions. So it's not a day for us to rejoice in by any stretch of the imagination.
The sentencing hearing for Dennis Spaulding is scheduled for Thursday. Another East Haven cop is already serving 2 years. The 4th will be sentenced next month.
We just wanted this harassment and brutality to stop.
The prosecutor and the judge said that without this video, this case may have never happened.
Carey, who has been in federal prison since October when he was convicted, will be out for the next 5 weeks to settle his personal affairs. He reports to federal prison again on February 25th. From the Hartford Newsroom, Mark Davis, News 8.